What's up? Howdy, y'all. Welcome back to Dallas Does Makeup. I am Dallas, and today we're doing makeup. Today I'm going to be doing Halloween look because it's October and it's my favorite holiday. It's Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. But I'm going to be doing a all makeup only Halloween look, so there's going to be no prosthetics, no wigs or anything like that. Like, this is just makeup, and it's going to be the Riddler. It's not going to be any specific Riddler. It's going to be kind of my take on the Riddler, based on, like, all of the different costume designs I've seen, and, like, what I know about him, and, you know, for me, the Riddler is 100% a trans man. I'm gonna have a fun time doing this. I'm gonna enjoy myself with this. And I'm gonna invite y'all along for the ride so that you can explore some really cool makeup products that I have, as well as just some cool makeup ideas. You know, y'all know that I'm really into, like, mask type makeup effects, and that's what today is gonna be, so I think we're gonna have a good time together. So without further ado, let's get to it! And let's hydrate. Just kind of getting my face prepped with this nice, like, rose water spray. Spraying that onto my sponge as well. Make sure we get a lot of really nice silky primer on there. This is the Bakerie Butter Stick Primer, which I'm in love with. It just, oh. Like, it glides on. It's in a stunning, stunning way. It's so soft. Oh, it's like butter. This is an aptly named product. They called it their Butter Stick, or their Hydra Butter Primer or something, and, like, yep, that is 100% what it is. It feels like butter. It feels better than butter, honestly, like, because butter would feel greasy, and this doesn't feel greasy at all. It just, like, it's like silk. It feels like silk. It feels like the skin equivalent of silk. I love it. And then just kind of rub that in with your fingers. Like, for this stage, for the skincare stage, and oftentimes even for the foundation stage, I like to use my fingers because it's not gonna soak up any of my product. It's also not gonna leave any streaks, and it's gonna give warmth on both the applicator end and the receiving end, which is gonna help it soak into the skin a lot faster and move a little bit smoother. You know, makeup applies a lot better when it's a little warm. You know, you want it to be skin temperature, essentially. And my bedroom's very chilly right now because it's autumn. So I'm trying to, you know, warm it up as best as I can. That way I don't get with, like, a patchy, sort of waxy application. Another key thing to do is to give your skin time to set between the primer and the foundation, because you don't want to go in with, it's all about the thickness of the layer, right? So if you ever watch a Bob Ross video, when he puts down that first layer of liquid white, he makes sure it's super, super thin so that it's not really super liquid. It's such a thin layer so that when he goes in with this really heavy cream paint on top of it, it's a really thick oil paint. It mixes with the white underneath, but then as he layers up on top of that thicker paint, the paint becomes thinner and thinner so that it doesn't mix with the color underneath, and that you still get that dimension and the distinction between shades. And that's kind of what you have to think about when you're working with makeup, is what are your textures that you're working with, and based on those textures, you know, what order should you be putting them on your face. So I've got my primer on. I'm just going to kind of tap myself with that damp sponge. Now what I've just done here is I've taken my Fenty foundation and then I've taken the same shade concealer. 120 foundation, 120 concealer. I like the 120 concealer because it's a little bit yellow toned, which is great for canceling out redness and purple shades in your face. So like when I have really inflamed zits, they tend to look a little bit purple reddish toned. And I find that a yellow works better at concealing them than a green does, because green still has that cool shade. But because my skin is a little bit more on the neutral side, it already has these green tones to it. It already has some green tones to them. So using green color correctors always just ends up making me look a little bit muddy. So I like to use yellow shades on my face when I need to correct redness, which I quite often have now with the hormones. And now that I've mixed it, this is just a little, it's like a little glitter brush, so it's just like a little silicone spatula. I love using this for mixing shades and then applying the stuff directly to my face because nothing gets stuck in the bristles, and nothing gets smudged around on my face by bristles because it's like really flexible silicone, so you can see there. Then I'm going in with this, the sponge. It's a dampened sponge, so you want it to be damp because that provides a barrier between the sponge and your makeup, so it's not going to absorb any of your, as much of your makeup. It will absorb some, but it's not going to absorb as much, which means it's not going to pick up any stuff that you put down underneath your foundation. And then, you know, I didn't put any directly onto my nose. I'm just using whatever's on the sponge to cover my nose, because with noses, they tend to look cakey really, really fast. You just want to keep, like, lightly pressing it into your skin. Don't smudge it around. Don't do circles when you're working with the sponge. You know, you don't want to smear it, because then what you're doing is you're attaching a sponge to a wet layer of product and then pulling it, so you're dragging it off the skin instead of applying new product down. You want to keep doing this stippling motion, you know, like Bob Ross when he's making his trees, just right in there. And then you're going to get a much smoother application like that. I put my glasses on when I go in to do concealer so that I can get the most even application, just a little bit there. Should be good. So for the biggest blemishes, I've left the concealer on for a couple seconds just to kind of get it setting into the skin and into the foundation beneath it. And I'm taking that sponge and I'm just going to really gently sort of pat it around, kind of in a motion, going in circles around the blemish to really get all sides of it so that you're covering it from all sides. And then with whatever's left over, you know, you go back over the patchy parts of your face. I always deal with, like, such flaky, dry skin right there, which is so frustrating because I also get acne there. And, like, I just don't know. I don't know what products to use to take care of that, because it's like I'm soaking up all the oil with salicylic acid, and then I'm plopping, like, a moisturizer on at night, and then I'm plopping, like, Vaseline on at night because the skin is so freaking flaky and dry from all of the irritation and stuff. It's getting really frustrating. It's freaking bodies, man. Am I right? Can't live with them. Definitely can't live without them. Kind of a ripoff. Right. Let the face set a little bit. You know, because, again, if we're going to be going in with cream products over what we just put down as liquid, we're going to be introducing a thicker product on top of a thinner product. And it's going to want to make that thinner product move towards the thicker product. So if we let our face sort of set, what we can even do is just do some little sprays. Dry that face off. Get the cream, really melt it with your finger, like that. Get it nice and thin and warm on your hand, on your fingertip, and then go in and draw that shadow wherever you want it to be. I have really high cheekbones if you look at them. Like, oh my gosh, they're so close to my eyes. Like, that's where my cheekbone is. It's like right underneath the corner of my eye. And, you know, I've always wondered why I put my contour so low in the past. And I think it's because I just didn't like having to deal with such a close proximity to my eye. And, you know, that's also kind of why I do a lot of temple work, like draping a lot of stuff on my temple. A lot of colors, a lot of highlights, is because it kind of just incorporates with my cheekbone naturally up there, and I feel like it's a good technique for my face, you know. That's something a lot of people don't think about when they do makeup, is what kind of techniques will work best for your face shape. You really got to get used to knowing your own face when you work with makeup. Like, you really need to be familiar with your face. You need to know what parts of your face you like, what parts of your face you don't like. I'm going in with this same sponge. I've just turned it around to the butt end, and as I dab, I'm moving it upwards. So you want it to kind of go into a fade up towards the cheekbone from where you put it down. Because then that'll round out with the blush. I know a lot of people online like to do their eye makeup before they do their base, but for me, it's just, my base is just too distracting. Like, I can't do eye makeup when I'm sitting there worrying about if this blemish is going to cover properly or not. Like, I just can't do it. Like, I would so much rather get the base done and, like, have a blank slate to work with before I go in with colors on the eyes. And that's why I can't stand makeup with fallout so much. It's like, I do not want fallout when I am working with my eyeshadow, because I have already done my base, you know, and I don't want to have to deal with going in after having done my base and then having done my eyeshadow with more coverage to undo, you know, a bunch of powder that I put on, that fell onto my face. That's why I gravitate towards cream products so much, I think. Like, I love liquid eyeshadows, I love cream eyeshadows, and I think it's because then I don't have to worry about the fallout that comes with those types of products. You know, then I can just do my base first, and then put some eyeshadow down, and not have to worry about it fucking everything up. But I know a lot of people really hate them because they feel like they can't be as precise. And again, it's about understanding how to use the products. A poor craftsman blames his tools, but a good craftsman knows which tools are best for which job, you know? Like, a poor craftsman will blame his tools, but, you know, if you try to go chop down a tree with a butter knife, like, you don't really have a good grasp of what you're doing, what your goal is there, mate. Maybe reevaluate your life if that's what you're trying to do. Yeah, so just make sure that you understand your tools. Make sure you understand your makeup. You know, play around with it. Like, I love playing around with makeup because I get a better sense of how to use different types of products and different types of formulas and finishes, and I really like that. I really like feeling like I'm going to be prepared to do something more creative or more challenging or work with something I've never worked with before. It's just fun. Yeah. Alright, contour is done. As you can see, working with that cream. Oh. You know, I never used to like working with sponges, but I gotta say, I'm kind of converted. I think I was just using them wrong, you know? Just like I was saying, learn how to use your tools. And I think because I didn't know how to use a sponge properly, it would constantly fuck me up. And I hated it. Hated feeling like that. Hated feeling like, I was just never getting the results I wanted. But if you wet that sponge thoroughly, like, get it soaked, squeeze out all the water, and then even before I use it, what I do is I take that damp sponge and I wrap it up in like a washcloth or a hand towel and I squeeze it again. And then you get this really nice, fluffy, damp sponge that isn't like leaking water onto your face as you're putting it on. Because I'm doing this Riddler. I swear to God, Gavin, do not publish that. Do not publish me calling the Riddler the Riddler. I will be dead in my bed. Because I'm doing this Riddler costume, and the Riddler has these fucking amazing and campy colors of purple and green. Like, what kind of guy? I love him. I love him so much. He's a ridiculous little piece of shit. I'm doing this purple blush, kind of like on top of the contour almost, and then a little bit up onto the cheekbone right beneath my eye. And, you know, some of this is going to get covered up, and that's okay, because, again, we're just establishing a base. And I like to work in threes. So what I like to do is I do kind of like Bob Ross does. You know, you've got your base color, so he puts down his mountain first, just the shape of the mountain in one uniform color, and then he mixes up a shadow color, and he goes in and he puts down, you know, the shadow, which gives it the darker dimension, and then on top of that, he'll go in with the highlight, so you've got the base, the shadow, and the highlight, and that's what gives you your dimension in your paintings. That is also what gives you your dimension on your face. So we go in with the base, which was my contour, on top of, it's a little bit more complicated with makeup. It's not always threes, but, you know, you've got your base, you've got your contour shades, you've got your highlight shades, and your base is often your transition shade as well when you're working with eye makeup. But, so right now, I'm doing my shadow shade. So my base was my contour. My shadow is the blush. And then the highlight will be a highlighter. Yeah, like that. Smooth out those edges towards the center of your face. Get a little purple on the nose. And if you've seen my blush video, you know how much I love blush, but you also will have heard my technique and my advice that you want to take that blush and incorporate it to other parts of your face. So if you have seen that video, you know that I'll always take a little blush, put it on the chin, put it on the nose, put it on my lips, sort of make my skin look like that's its blush color, its natural blush color. Even if it's like really unnatural, it just kind of brings a uniformity to your face. So I'm not going to put much over here because of the acne, and I don't want to draw attention to it. But I am going to put a little bit up there anyways. Just like that, already. We're rocking it. Let's take a look at this, shall we? Okay, not bad. I mean, like, we all know I'm having some issues with my skin recently, so we're just not going to talk about that. And we're going to look at everything else. Like, ooh, it's not bad, okay. Excuse me while I hydrate. Next up is highlighter. Trying to decide what highlighter I want to wear. I don't want wearing those. I want to wear this one. This one, just a nice nude highlighter. Going back to my About Face liquid drops. It's been a while since I've seen you, baby. Hello. Hello. How are you doing? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, look at that, baby. Oh, look at that. Oh. And then, you know, I gotta get that nose. Gotta make my nose look cute. Just a nice little dewy highlight for the cheeks today. And now let's get into the fun stuff. So for the Riddler, I'm doing a mask look, and it's going to involve purple eyeshadow coming from essentially here-ish on the temple, across the nose, a little blurred out here on the nose. And then I want to take this, this like dark smoke green, let's see, like that, to do a little question mark shape on each side of my cheekbones, like this, coming down for a dot right there. Each side my, like in the cheekbones, in the dimples where I would smile. So like I want to have 2 question marks coming there and down, and have the dots, and then behind it is going to be like a glittery purple eyeshadow mask. So the question mark is going to be matte and outlined in like a light green matte color right here. Yeah. And then behind it, I'm going to have some glittery purple. This is an About Face glitter lipstick that they just released. But I find it's actually pretty good for anywhere on the skin. So you can see that it's like... But we're going to use that purple glitter as like a topper. So first we're going to be going in with a bunch of powder shadow. But then before we go into the powder shadow, we're going in with the eye primer. Because you want that shadow to stick evenly so that you're not like packing it on. And I did not believe in eyeshadow primer for the longest time. Whoa, for the longest time. If you say goodbye to me tonight, there will still be music left around. What else can I do? I'm so inspired by you. That hasn't happened for the longest time. So, eye primer's there. That's gonna really grab onto that eyeshadow. Which is exactly what we want. Let's see. Do I want to use any of these purples? ColourPop's fine. I enjoy the color range that ColourPop provides, but honestly I find that their mattes tend to have a lot of fallout, their matte shadows. And it's fine when I'm working on more artistic looks, I think, because it's so cheap. I don't like using it for daily looks because I don't like having to deal with the frustration of all the fallout and stuff. But I do have a couple ColourPop palettes with some pretty nice purples. Yeah. I'm gonna try to color match it to like the color toppers though, because I got these like glitter lipsticks already. I don't really use concealer brushes, so I'm gonna take this concealer brush by Fenty because it's nice and fat, and go into my Violet Voss palette that I love so much. I'm gonna pick up this purple. Like, look at this. There's no fallout at all. That's why I love this palette. It's because, like, I got my base done, and I don't want to have to deal with fallout, okay? I'm just gonna start packing that on. You know, get up there. Really get in there. This is just the base shade, so I don't have to worry about being neat or perfect. Remember I was talking about those thinking threes, you know, I'm putting in my base shade. It's just gonna go down. We're just gonna slap it down. We're just gonna get that color on there. And then we're gonna neaten it up with our shadow and our highlight shades. So this is what's giving us our initial shape and color. And the reason I like doing these mask looks as well, so like you can feel on your face as you're doing makeup, like feel where that eye socket bone actually sort of ends, where your eye socket meets that cheekbone and the nasal bone and stuff, and really dig that brush in there, you know? Make yourself like very panda-like, and then just sort of drag that across, you know? Work with your bone structure, work with what your face is giving you. And I'm gonna sound like a broken record saying that till the day I die. Like, don't fight. Don't fight your body. Don't fight your face. Work with what you have. Because you're gonna end up with much more satisfying and convincing and confident makeup looks like that. Alright, I got the base shade down. Just gonna go in and fix up some of this patchiness that I got from shoving my brush every which way. Just because it's a base doesn't mean I don't want it to be even. You know, I want to have an even amount of product to work with and to blend with on all sides. Like that. See, we're already getting this, like, superhero mask sort of look. Except, it's a supervillain. Fuck. See, that's why some people don't do their base first, but, I am filled with hubris. Step 2, figure out where you want to put glitter. I haven't thought this look through 100%, but I feel like what I want to do is I want to take this, this lighter purple glitter and concentrate it on the inside of my eye. And then I want to take the darker purple glitter and concentrate it on the outside of my eye and like a little bit under here. I think that's what I want to do. But before I can do the glitter, I need to get some transition, some shadow shades. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get that indigo, which is slightly bluer, I guess, than the violet. These two are very close together. It's just a little frustrating for a rainbow palette, but I'm going to put that dark one over here on the edge. And it's okay if this whole purple mask thing is like a shimmery or a satin finish, because the green that we use to outline it is going to be 100% matte. So it's really going to help all that stand out. So I'm putting down this shadow. It's like a sort of shimmer finish. It's not glittery and it's not really metallic. It's just very sort of satin shimmer. I'm just using that because it blends a little bit better than matte shades, I find. It's a little bit silkier and easier to blend. So I'm just going to put that on top of my base shade so that the highlights have something to blend with. So this is the Glitter Fractal Lip Paint by About Face, from About Face by Halsey. Honestly, I feel like the lip paints and eye paints are kind of interchangeable. They're a very similar formula, but they're just, I love them so much. Oh my god, I love paint formulas in makeup, and it's so hard to find them. And I know a lot of people really don't like having liquid or cream formulas, and I've said that at the beginning. But like, if you're someone like me and you came into makeup from the more arty side of things, like I came into it from theater and from painting and stuff, and you come into makeup from the more arty side of things, I really, really recommend don't be afraid of the price tag. You know, I really recommend checking out About Face, because these things are just, they're mind-blowing. Like, I've used them as, I have really oily eyelids, and I've used them without eye primer as full eyeshadows, like blended out on my eyelids and everything. And by the end of an 8-hour day, there were no creases, no cracks whatsoever. They blew my mind. Like, the only problem I have with About Face is sometimes I can't get their makeup to wash off because they're so intense and long wearing. It's, anyways, I really suggest you try it, because you will not. If you like painting, if you are kind of like arty, or if you prefer liquid makeup, like, these things are highly pigmented, so it's not going to sheer out as easily as some other liquid makeups. But if you know, if you're into challenges and if you're into arty makeup, definitely check this out. I don't wear her stuff that often because, while it's great for amping up everyday looks, I find it's a lot more suited for big, bold, arty looks. Which is not a bad thing. Like, I was watching a Nikki Tutorials video reviewing the About Face line by Halsey, and it was the initial line, so the one where I actually feel like the expansions upon Halsey since this video have really sort of improved. So I feel like the initial Halsey products were like, you know, B tier, but incredibly interesting, very different, you know? It's really hard, like Nikki was saying in her video, it's really hard to be interesting and new in the makeup game, because you can find knockoffs and copies of products everywhere. And Halsey came into the game with like her painter background and just came up with really, really new and interesting ideas, and they're not perfect, but they're worth it. They're worth investigating, and they're worth exploring, because it's really going to change how you view makeup. I love it so much. Like, there's not a makeup brand out there. There's not a single makeup brand out there that doesn't have problems. Whether that's problems with the quality of a product, or problems with, like, the general creativity of their product line, or problems with their manufacturing, or their prices, yada, yada, yada. There's no company that's gonna suit all of your needs and be perfect at it all the time. So really just keep making sure that you keep exploring, keep trying new and interesting things, because you never know what product might change your mind, or might open your mind, or make you feel a little bit more creative. You know, I like makeups that make me feel creative, and the Halsey line makes me feel so creative in a way in a far more direct way than normal eyeshadow palettes do. Eyeshadow palettes feel very traditional, and I find it's easy for me to get stuck into a certain mentality when I deal with eyeshadow palettes. You know, I'm looking at it going, well, this is eyeshadow, I have to use it on my eye. But introducing liquid products into my routine has really sort of made me open my eyes a bit more about the ways in which I can use makeup. So glad I did it. So to really make this eye pop, I've got my little glitter spatula and this glitter palette from ColourPop. Going in to get this purple glitter with the spatula. You can just kind of scrape it. I need a mirror now. I'm gonna put it, just smear it onto the eye. Right from the crease all the way to the lashes. Just on the center of the eye. Get the glitter off your eyelashes a little bit with by fiddling them. Boop. Do that again for the other side. Glitter, done. Next, I'm getting this green, the pastel green. I'm going to be using this as eyeliner, so I'm going to slop that down onto my palette, but down here. Getting myself an eyeliner brush. Just stamping it along the lash line. You want to stamp and not drag, so I like the flat tip. I like the flat brushes because you can stamp better, and I prefer stamping to dragging, especially when dealing with shimmers and stuff, because if you stamp, you're less likely to dislodge pieces of glitter. Alright, so I've got a little bit of a messy bottom edge, which is fine. I'm okay with that. No, it's fine. Because I put down a powder beneath it, I'm just gonna go in with like a little blending brush and kind of buff those together. Just gonna buff out all of these edges right now. Make sure everything looks nice and blended. Ta-da! Alright, the Riddler's almost done! The Riddler's almost done! Before I do anything else, I want to set it all with powder. Okay. Anybody else getting stressed, or is it just me knowing I have to go in with this? Alright, let's do this thing. Alright, so I've just finished creating the shape of the question marks with that dark green liquid. Now, after I'm just going over with the brush and making sure it's not patchy anywhere, making sure the shape looks good, making sure it looks even in the mirror and like symmetrical and stuff. And next, we're going to go grab some of that light green, wipe off that dark green on the brush. We're going to get that light green and get a thinner brush. I got this little pointy one. Load it up with paint. Get a lot of paint on there. Really get that in there. Get it nice and wet. Close it back up, keep it from drying out. And start outlining. I just took that light green and brushed it into my eyebrows because I didn't really put any dark green in there or any purple, so I wanted to get them colored. Just keep working around in short strokes. Stroke, get more paint. You know, you want to avoid rubbing too much because then you're just going to mix it with the color underneath. So you really just want to kind of be, I rubbed a little bit at the beginning because I was still getting my technique down, and that's why it looks a little darker down here, so. Ta-da! That looks pretty good. Okay, I'm into this. Get some more. Work on the other side. Ooh. My eyes are watering from keeping them open so long, trying to look at what I'm doing. Look at this! Oh my god, look at this! I did it! I actually did it. I did some line work. I'm so proud of myself. It's a little messy, but I did it. I'm so bad at line work. Y'all. So bad at it. So bad. Okay. I'm just so shaky all the time. I'm just going in on top of the eyeliner I did because it's all blurry. Sharpening it up. Okay, that's not terrible. Okay, now that I got my glasses on, I can clean up some of these corners, but like for a first go, it's not bad. The Riddler is almost done. Can you believe it? The all makeup Riddler. Hell yeah. Last thing I want to do, grabbing some highlighter, just some of this pinky purple. Look at that. Ha ha ha! Alright, last thing to do is, don't want to do lashes today. No. Just like that. Now I'm gonna take a look with my glasses. Okay, yes. This is looking real good. So, I'm gonna have to get dressed to show off the makeup look as a whole. So, I'm gonna pause this and then I'll be right back. What do you think? Am I a good Riddler? Do you like this Riddler makeup? Do you like the fact that I have paired it with a jumpsuit? Let's get these pockets sorted. Oh yeah. This is my take on a Riddler makeup. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. And I certainly hope you have a very, very good Halloween. Bye.